This week's Parsha is Parshas Bamidbar. Parshas Bamidbar records the counting of the Jewish people at the time that they were in the desert. The Jewish people were counted separately than the Levites. The sons of Levi were counted separately. The reason for this is because they had a superiority, because at the time of the sin of the golden calf, they did not participate in that sin. For that reason, they were given the privilege of serving in the temple, tabernacle, and also they were counted separately as a result. The event that occurred at the Mount Sinai, that the Jewish people were worried that Moshe would not descend from the mountain, that he disappeared, and so on, that required great emunah, the ability to believe that whatever should happen will happen, and that Hashem had not abandoned them. Emunah is the idea that a person is willing to take a leap of faith, and despite that he can't understand within the confines of his mind the rationale behind something or why something occurred, he's willing to go beyond it and take that leap. And that is what the Levites did. The Medrash states in this week's Parsha, right at the beginning, that Tzikascha kaharel, your righteous ones are like the mountains. Mishpatecha ta'am rabba, and your judgments are like the deep depths. Sfas Emes, the Ger Rebbe, explains the reference to this verse is discussing this idea. A person who has the courage to have a leap of faith and be in a state of darkness, not understanding where he is and where he's going, why things are happening, will merit to see the light, will merit to understand everything. He will, in the end, be much more content. Similar to a mountain. Person who climbs a mountain, at the time while he's climbing the mountain, he can't see anything. All he sees is the rugged terrain ahead of him. And he has to labor for countless hours trying to get to the top of the mountain. When he reaches the top of the mountain, all of a sudden his view is tremendous. He can see from one side of the world to the next. But his trek is fraught with indecision, and he is afraid and he is nervous about ascending the mountain because he can't see where he's going. He can't see his destination until he reaches the top. And it's exactly the opposite when it comes to God's judgments, meaning in reference to those people who do not have faith. A person who does not have faith tries his best to see what he can see at that time. And as a result, though, the darkness descends. He cannot see the connection between events. He cannot see why things happen. And therefore, he descends into the depths of darkness. That's the reason why it states, Mishpatecha ta'am rabba, your judgments are like the deep depths, but Tzidkascha kahariel, but your righteous ones, those who are willing to have that leap of faith, they will get to the top of the mountain and see the entire terrain. They could see the big picture. Good question on this week's Parsha. The Torah begins in Bamidbar, and it says exactly where the first communication in this Parsha occurred. Normally, when the Torah describes where something is, it starts off at the most precise point and then expands, very much like we would do if we would write an address. You start off with the street number, then you say the street, then you say the city, then you say the state, and in some cases you may even say the country. Go narrow and then you go broad. And the Torah does the same thing, normally. But in the first verse in this week's Parsha, it first states that they were in the desert of Sinai, and then it says that the communication occurred at the tabernacle. The question is very simple. Why was it switched in this case? Have a good Shabbos.